Hi, I'm Jeff Stokes. Welcome to Jeff's Daily Dose of Encouragement. Today I want to encourage you, there is nothing new under the sun. Sometimes when we read scriptures, we should not be surprised that some of the things that we see happening, 2,000 years ago, are happening today, they've just got a different form. And particularly I'm talking about events that happened to the Apostle Paul when they were preaching the gospel. So in chapter 19 of Acts, he's in Ephesus, and they had preached the gospel, and the word was going really well. And then what happened is, from verse 24, this happened. For a certain man, I'll start in 23, and the same time there arose no small stir about the way of Jesus Christ and the gospel that was being preached. So it caused a bit of a stir. For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, brought no small gain unto the craftsmen, whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation, and said, Sirs, you know that by this craft we have our wealth. So they're making money out of idolatry. There's always money or something behind it. You can always trace it back to money or something, can't you? Anyway, moreover, you see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul has persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods which are made with hands, which is the truth. It's the truth. But you see, these people don't like the truth, do they? They don't like the truth. So that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, because it's all about money, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worships. And when they heard these sayings, they were full of wrath, and cried out, saying, Great is Diana of the Ephesians, or some Bibles say Artemis, I think. And the whole city was filled with confusion, and having caught Gaius and Aristarchus, men of Macedonia, Paul's companions in travel, they rushed with one accord into the theatre. And when Paul would have entered in unto the people, the disciples suffered him not. And certain of the chief of Asia, which were his friends, sent unto him, desiring him that he would not adventure himself into the theatre. We're down to verse 31 there. 32, this is the poignant bit here. Some therefore cried one thing, and some another. For the assembly was confused, and the more part knew not wherefore they were come together. And they drew Alexander out of the multitude, the Jews putting him forward, and Alexander beckoned with the hand, and would have made his defence unto the people. But when they knew that he was a Jew, all with one voice about the space of 2 hours cried, Great is Diana of the Ephesians. That's verse 34. Now, when I read that passage, I don't know about you, but in recent years, in the last couple of years or so, particularly after Hamas attacked Israel and killed over 1,000 people, nearly 1,200 people, there has been worldwide, I know, like in Australia and Great Britain and the States, there's been these massive, what I would call left-wing, but they're pro-Palestinian protests. And also, there's the situation where President Donald Trump got voted in, and there's just been these massive protests and looting and violence and stuff like that. And whenever there's another thing like going on in Australia, Great Britain at the moment, but it has been here in my country and also in Australia, where women have tried to stand up and have their voices heard, and then all these protesters turn up and with their violence and their rhetoric, and making a hell of a balloo against something they don't agree with. And also I see a lot of you could call them citizen journalists. They sometimes go to some of these protests and go and ask people questions. And as soon as the person asks a question of one of these protesters, instead of being able to debate with a reasoned argument, they either start cussing or they start making what they call ad hominem attacks. They start attacking the person and calling them all sorts of foul names, or they just start chanting these mindless chants. And a lot of people, we'd had situations where university campuses were totally taken over by these people chanting these chants for hours. And a lot of the people, when you go up to them and ask them what they're there for, they wouldn't even know what they're there for. And if they're told the truth, they just can't handle the truth. And this sort of that sort of spirit that's behind all that is going on right here. It's going on right here, and you can see that in this place here. So, as it says as King Solomon said in Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9, at the end of verse 9, it says, "And there is no new thing under the sun." This sort of thing has been happening for centuries, and as soon as we know, like this is the gospel here being attacked, we know that as soon as Israel goes to defend itself, the whole world goes nuts. Anti-Semitism is really rife, especially it's really bad in Australia at the moment. They have to have security guards outside all their synagogues and schools because of these nutters that don't even know why they're doing what they're doing, and you can't even speak to them the truth without them reacting because they've got some other agenda going on. And the Antichrist spirit and all that stuff, and the spirit of rebellion is so rife in society, and it's like a tinderbox. It all lies under a thin veneer, and all it takes is one incident to happen for an excuse for people to come out in their droves and start, taking over the streets and taking over cities and intimidating people and just going nuts. And that's exactly what happened here in the book of Acts 19. And so I'm saying that to say, just be encouraged that it's not some new thing that's happening today and suddenly the world's going nuts. It's been going nuts for a long time. And that's why the whole world needs Jesus Christ. They need it. These people need it. If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, if you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For whosoever shall confess that Jesus is the Son of God, God dwells in him and he in God. And just one other thing, you'll see what this guy Demetrius, the coppersmith, or whatever he's called, silversmith, did. That's often what happens. One person, in those days, it was word of mouth, so to speak. These days, we've got social media and phones. One person will get upset about something and then get a whole raft of people on their side because of something. And even at the protests these days, they've got people walking around that tell the protesters, don't talk to anybody. You don't have to talk. And they're all trying to run interference because they don't want people being turned away from their cause, or they don't want their cause exposed or whatever. They all wear masks so no one can identify them and all that sort of stuff. That's really brave. You can see all the things that are happening today were happening back 2,000 years ago. Thank you for listening, and God bless you, and have a great day, and keep sharing Jesus no matter what.